Hello. So today we're going to crack open some coconuts. It's what makes life more Hawaiian than dealing with coconuts. We have an ulu on the barbecue over here cooking. And while that's cooking, we're going to open these. These are roadside coconuts that I got a friend to husk for me yesterday because I have a bad shoulder. And he has a good spike that he can use. So he helped husk 5 coconuts. And today we're going to crack them open and then extract the meat. Because I'm going to make some coconut candy. So we don't want to make that mess right here because, you know, it's kind of nice. So we're going to go around the corner and find a good spot to be a little bit messy. The trick with this is we have trade winds blowing that way. So if we're going to cut coconuts and capture the juice, we're going to have to like hold the bowl like this. So that may not be very successful, but the goal is not the juice, it's the meat. So we're not going to care too much about the juice, but it's here in case we manage to capture any of it. Okay. There's a chance of capturing juice. This blade has a sharp side, this side, and a dull side, this side. It's good to know which side is which. Because when you're cutting down through one of these, which I'm not an expert at, but I think I can do it, you don't want to use the sharp side because you're holding the nut like this. And you could actually go straight through yourself, which isn't really a good idea. So you always use the dull side to crack these guys open. Just don't hit your face in the process, because that's another danger zone. It's best when you have a knife to kind of keep your distance, whatever you're doing. So you got to look for the eyes and the mouth here, right? And then there's a ridge between each one, but one ridge seems to be greater than the other. I think this is the ridge, the big ridge here. Let's see. I would say this is the top ridge right here. So that's where you hack it. That's where you're supposed to go. Two halves, and it looks like good meat. Nice firm meat, that's exactly what we need. So that's number one. So this is what we got out of one coconut. Now, these are not drinking coconuts per se. The green ones are meant for the juice. These are meant for the. These are harvested for the meat because at this point the meat's very thick, you know. This is the stuff you would grate in a grater, and then you'd get coconut milk if you squeeze it. What's this is just the leftover juice that once upon a time filled this green coconut. But as it matures, it has less juice inside and it becomes more of a sort of fatty, creamy juice. And when you buy them on the mainland, a lot of times they taste like shit because they're old. So let's try this. Still good. No, cameraman. Give the cameraman a little refreshment. Cameraman is nodding in agreement. So, cheers. The little brown stuff in there, we call that nature's fiber. It's good for you. bowl goes back, and we repeat. What's interesting is that you can never really predict what's inside a coconut. Once you husk it, you may get a big monster like this, and you can hear it full of liquid, or a little one like this, little icky thingy here. I guess that's Hawaii's Las Vegas, the lottery, the cocoa lottery here. What are you gonna get? Okay, so again we look for the eyes and the mouth here, and just feel for the ridges, because in between each one there's going to be this ridge, and one of these ridges is going to be thicker than the other one, and that's the one you want to kind of hit. And I would say that it's one of these, it's this one here. It's just a thicker, firmer ridge that sits between the eyes. So, see, you can kind of see the eyes and the mouth right here. This little guy is tough. Because he's not really willing to let go, despite concentrated effort. See, very thick meat in this little coconut here, but we got to crack it open because I need to get stuff out from inside. There we go. Coming out very nicely. Good. Oh no. Cameraman. I'm going to go wash the knife off because I got juice on my fingers. I don't want a slippery knife, that's a bad thing. I'll go rinse this off. Yeah, there's another one. 2 eyes and a mouth. This one looks like it might have started sprouting, but we'll know when we open it if that's the case. Here's a good example. As predicted, there's a little bit of sprouting going on. See that little thing? That means there was a little sprout sticking out that got broken off. And it starts creating this stuff. And if you open one that's got all this yellow stuff in it, you can still eat the stuff. It's just that it's a sprouted coconut. This stuff in here is called cotton candy. Tastes quite different. I'm not a particular fan of it, but it's not bad. Gives the cameraman some too. But it's kind of it tastes a little bit like fermented, like sprouted coconut. I can't quite. What do we compare this to? I can't think of it. There's something more conventional that tastes a little like it, but I can't think of it right now. But this is beautiful coconut, see? You just don't get this on the mainland too often. If you buy 5, usually 2 or 3 are bad. And you'll know when you drink the juice if they're bad or not, because it's not going to taste good, and there's going to be mold sitting on some of this. The mouth is generally a little further down. You can kind of tell the eyes by being close together. So, anyway, the ridge would be here, and that's true. Beautiful. Let's see what we got here. Tasting good. Again, if you're picky, you can filter this stuff, but who really cares? It's just coconut fiber. Back there. It's a beautiful view we have here. The outdoor kitchen. And the lagoon out in the back. Looks like somebody's out trying to catch something out there. Looking for food. Wow, this is very much what we have today. Alright. Eyes and mouth. So here's the ridge. Here we go again. Another beautiful coconut. And that makes number 5 and the last one. So, getting coconut out of these things can be a pain in the ocolin. That's the ocolin, okay? A pain in this one. So what I decided to try, since I have such a wonderful rock right here, is to see if I could hack the shell off here with the knife instead of having to dig this out. And it seems to be working just fine. So that's what we're doing now. See? Much easier. We'll wash this off, it's not a big deal. But whatever you do with these coconut knives, number 1, never drink a beer before you start. Number 2, you just want to always focus on your hand holding that handle. You can't be focused on your coconut, you have to be focused on your knife. It's just got to be like always there. Because the moment it's like driving without knowing where you're driving. I mean, driving and realizing you don't remember where you were for the last 2 minutes is not a good thing. This can do a lot of damage in 2 minutes. Oops. Now we have a few different configurations here. Like this stuff is all ready to go. This is edible. This brown. You don't have to take this off. This kind of brown is not edible. The difference is that you still got the shell there. Some of it I was able to hammer off, but some of it I couldn't hammer off. So what we're going to do is you try to either get a knife in here to lift it off, and depends kind of on the coconut how it behaves, but sometimes that won't let you do that. If that's not the case, then what you can usually do is cut down this way, and then you twist, and then it comes off that way. You got to get down to the shell and then twist, and then usually you can start to pry it off. But it's very, very nice when you can do what I just did over there, because it's so much easier. See, then you kind of pry it off, and there you have it. So, but it's much more tedious to cut it out of the shell than to be able to bite pieces like that out using that knife. So, and you can use like different knives, but I find a lot of times this knife is actually nicer for it. But sometimes if it's really tenacious nut, you can sometimes go in with a bigger knife and cut some pieces, and then go in and use this one to pry it off. Like that. And sometimes these small ones will come off, but sometimes they'll fight you till the bitter end. And this is just like mulch or souvenirs or whatever you want to use it for. If you're really creative, maybe you can get coconut shell jewelry out of it or something. So, and then of course we had some dirt from the from hammering over there, and that obviously has to come off before we use it. So just cut that off, so we get nice clean pieces. So that's the story with that. So we're just going to work on that and get all that cleaned up. But this is how you get the stuff out to eat your coconut, so that you can basically enjoy that stuff that's in the shell. Meanwhile, the ulu is cooking over on the barbecue there. So let's have a look. Here we have an ulu in here. It's a breadfruit. I think we can turn it here. It's going to be all like pretty much black. You can do it in a fire or do it in here in a barbecue. And when it starts to smoke out the end that we open, which will be here, we took the stem out. When it starts to smoke out of the stem hole, that means it's done. And over here we have a piece of marlin from, I guess, Micronesia. That's usually where it's from. So we're just going to let the ulu cook a little longer. And meanwhile, I'll keep working on the coconut. And then look at the view, for example. Not too shabby, huh? Not too shabby for March.